Good evening, everyone. Flo was right. He said I came back from the B20 summit. He insisted that I went surfing, and I didn't. I wish I could. I had to show him photographs to prove that I didn't. But he was wrong about another thing. He said I'm the last speaker for the day. I'm not. I'm the opening act of the entertainment you're going to have at 5:15, 5:30. So he was supposed to come up and do a dance with me, but he decided to let me sing my song on how we can maximize the awesome power of data. The second thing I'll tell you, if you stay for this sound bite, you will be a source of information in this week's F1 weekend. Right? So I promise you it will not be too dry. I promise you it will be useful. And I promise you Flo and I are not singing or dancing this moment. So we're here to talk about big data. But how big is the data we're talking about? Every day, 2.5 quintillion bytes of data is exchanged. But quintillion, I don't know this word time before. What is quintillion? If you shout out a number in terms of gigabytes, which is more familiar, how big would that be? Anyone? A billion. It's 1 billion gigabytes. In something that's more familiar with, if you had a 1 terabyte new iPhone, it will take you 1 million of these iPhones to make sure that we can store this data. The world is changing, the world is connecting. The increase in data comes in velocity, the speed of the data, the variety of data is changing our lives. But what does it mean to us every day? It means when you turn on the TV and you look at Netflix, the suggestions that they make for you, oh, it sounds familiar, how do you know I like to watch something like this? Behind it, Netflix looks at millions of data of personalities like yourself, study your genre, makes a recommendation. When you say, hey Siri, what's the weather like today? Will it be cool in the ADGM, ADFW event? And it says, no, it's going to be a bit hot today. That's why Thomas's session is at 5 p.m. That's a lot of data behind it that tells you that. It says, hey Waze, Google, take me to my destination. Again, it routes you to the best destination because of the big data behind it. Now, data doesn't just touch us in our daily life. In the healthcare industry, big data analytics has helped us expedite clinical trials. It has helped us lower the cost of treatment. It has helped us predict and prevent, if we can, cases of epidemics or control. In the areas of smart cities transportation, big data has given us the ability to understand the way we live, the way we work, the way we play. So big data touches us in every way possible, and I'm sure you can feel it. But I'm not here to tell you that. This is the F1 weekend. And how can we be talking about big data if we don't talk about F1? F1 is the leading example of the use of big data, AI, and analytics in the modern world of sports. For F1 race, every second on the track, every lap transmits millions of data points for analysts to look at, to filter, to understand, to be able to give them a winning formula, to give the teams a way to get onto the victory lap. Every F1 car has 300 sensors. So that's one number you need to remember when you go to the paddock. A car has 300 sensors. Every car transmits 1.5 terabytes of data in each race. Every weekend, a team of 2 cars transmit 11.8 billion records, data points, for the purpose of analytics, for the purpose of understanding how the car is performing against a competitor, for the factory analyst who's miles away to know what can they do for a car in this race, what can they do for the car in the next race. So you have 3 data points to remember to be the best person to talk to at the paddock. 11.8 billion points the team gathered. You would think that that's enough to know what to do with it. But no, 11.8 billion is one race weekend. There are 15 races through the year. The analyst and engineer at the F1 factories takes on all this data, historical, recent, real-time data, to calibrate the car. Because when we look at the races, we're not just looking at the drivers, we're looking at the constructors. We're looking at how the cars can be developed. If we don't look at the data in that manner, we will not see and progress the development that you see today. So in a world where data analytics doesn't exist, where big data doesn't exist, F1 will not be the way it is today. Right? The multi-million-dollar multi-billion-dollar industry is driven by data. It's funny, yesterday there was no soundtrack, and I was quite prepared to go, but thankfully Flow, it exists. When F1 started, it was stopwatch and a chalkboard. And then it grew on to be, computers and a dozen and maybe 100 data points, to where it is today, amassing billions of data points. It is the leader and the epitome of the use of big data and AI analytics in motorsports. This weekend, when you head down to the pit, when you're at the paddock club, when you're on site, when you hear the exciting sound of the cars and the concerts and everyone going by, take a step back and understand that there's a greater team other than the pit staff and the driver that is in the factory, that's in the back seat, using data science, big data analytics to make sure that the teams get their winning lap. This weekend, if you're rooting for Hamilton, hopefully he wins his race after last year's very exciting 57 lap. Right? Know that what's powering him, and should he beat Red Bull, it's because there's a big data science part to it. So that's your nugget for the weekend. But what does that mean to us outside the F1, outside this weekend when we're back in our regular lives? Very much like the F1, all our businesses and organizations have multiple systems with sensors that feed us a lot of information. And our job is, how do we interweave and bring all of this data together? Every organization has big data. It sits in disparate business systems. When you bring it together with the macro and the micro environment, you're able to generate insights that will help your business become more competitive, help your business cost optimize, help your business drive revenue. In a system like this, when big data did not exist, most of the time our organization used a fraction of the data that we have. The bigger part of it, what do? We process it, we store it, we archive it, but we don't use it. But today, with big data analytics, with big data environment, you're able to bring this data into your business. You're able to run operational and analytical analysis on it. You're able to understand your customer better. You're able to understand the supply chain better. You're able to make decisions that are based on insights and not gut feel. As a businessman, you need some gut feel, but if you have gut feel and data points together, it's very powerful. And then if you think about it, how do I unlock this power? There are 5 things that we need to think about. 1, know that we have big data. Very often organizations say, my data is so small, I don't have it, it's difficult to get. No, it resides in different systems. Understand and know that you have big data. The first thing you need to do, create an environment, an infrastructure that allows you to bring the data together. Number 2, when the data is together, you need to unify it. You need to be able to use the data in its systems as you need it, when you need it to answer the questions. You need to be able to ask who, what, where, when, how in a single question, and not go to disparate systems. 3, you need to keep up with technology. You need to embrace a cloud-first strategy. Make use of cloud computing power, make use of the services available in the cloud to drive some of this big data computation requirements. Number 4, you need to scale. Most of the time we start with rudimentary, elementary analytics. We moved on to rule-based analytics, and then we go on to AI and machine learning. You need to be able to be bold to adopt the AI machine learning algorithms. And you need to make sure you have a team. Because if all the technology exists in the car, and the pit staff doesn't know how to do it, the driver doesn't know how to do it, it's not going to work. So developing a team along scaling up your AI and machine learning capabilities within your organization is important. And the final one, you need to innovate. Because now, you have more data in the world to answer some of your previous questions. Questions you've been asking about the business, about your policies, but you will uncover answers to new questions. And then you need to be bold with it, you need to be creative with your new data, take a step forward. But when you take the step forward and you make breakthroughs, you know those breakthroughs are based on data. And if there's areas you need to look at, there's pitfalls, there's a sharp turn you need to look at, you use the data to mitigate and understand what you need to do. So in closing, Flo introduced me from pre-site. My team has been in the UAE for the past 2.5 years. Our team worked very closely with the UAE federal government, the organizations in the country, in the region, and internationally. Right, we're very eager to share with you what we think big data, analytics, and AI can do for you. Right, and more importantly, we want to hear what you need done. Right, and with that, I want to make sure that we can bring all of this together and then share with you what insights you can get from your business. So with that, thank you very much. I won't hold you back from the dance and the song that Flo is going to do. Enjoy your F1 weekend. Enjoy Abu Dhabi. Welcome for those who are not living here. Thank you.